Good evening, everybody. Tonight is the night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Poetry Corner King's Dream once again on a Thursday. And tonight we have Deelynn, dope author, dope poet. So here, Deelynn, let me give you the stage. Let everybody know who you are.
All right, wonderful. Hi, everyone. Good evening to everyone. It's 8 p.m., but I am Deelynn Leigh. Also, if you look me up social media-wise, my handle is The Poetic Leigh, which you see below my face here. But yes, I'm an author, I'm a poet, I'm an entrepreneur. The list goes on and on and on, and I know we're going to get more into that tonight, but I'm just excited to be here with you, King. I'm truly grateful for this platform and just this audience. But yeah, that's just a little bit, teaser there.
Well, we glad to have you up on here tonight because I know it's going to be a beautiful show. And so let's proceed on with the proceedings.
Okay.
So, let everybody know who is Deelynn and what does she have going on in this world?
Okay, what I got going on. Well, let me start first. I'll start with me as an author, as a poet. So as a poet, I actually began poetry when I was younger. In the education system, they introduced the haiku. That was one of my first times really working with poetry. And throughout life, it kind of developed from there. And I found it later, I guess, young adult, not even young adult, even before that, teenage, where poetry was a way for me to express myself. It was a way for me to get out all the emotion, whether it was good emotion, like happiness, joy, but it was also like anger, sadness, depression, it was just a way for me to just let loose and put it all on paper. Did I know I was going to be a poet or call myself a poet? I didn't. It wasn't until about, I would say, undergrad when I was at George Mason University. I majored actually in English and my concentration was poetry. And so that's when I kind of started to say, oh, you know what? I might actually be a poet. And so I knew I always wanted to write. I did know that. I just didn't know what exactly my first books or even any of my books would be. And so I came out with my first book. That was last year. I have it here, actually. Right. If everyone can see that. So
very nice book, too.
Yes, very first book that came out. Actually, it'll be a year this weekend. I looked that up. Oh, yeah, wow. It actually be a year this weekend. Wow. But it's Lift Up and it's inspirational poems and devotion. So that was my first book that came out. And I know I'm nowhere near King's level with the books, but my second one, is actually coming out later this year. So hopefully before the year is out is what we're projecting. I'm working with the same publisher. I have to give them a shout out, Taylor Publishing Group. They're awesome, based out of Greensboro, North Carolina. So I'm working with them again and working on the second book. So I can't say anything for a third, fourth, or fifth, but I can at least talk about what's happening now.
That's right. But it'll be coming soon.
Yes. Absolutely. That's true.
So I think that's a remarkable journey with the poetry, starting out from haikus and just broadbanding your way into a different existence. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's real good.
Absolutely, yes. And for me, with the poetry, especially now, what you'll see, whether it's the written work or if you hear me like on a stage, on a spoken word or something along those lines, for me, it's about ministry. King, I know you know this about me, but I'm all about my faith. My faith, putting God first in everything. And so
right.
A lot of the poems I write about, what you'll hear, you're going to hear me talk about God. It's a must. It has to be in there because that's where my life is surrounded there.
So technically there's no two sides to Deelynn when she's writing her poetry. Like how I do the King and the Lord and the JW. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I will say this though. Even though you will hear me talk about God the entire time, I don't, there are some poems too where I am transparent. Like I am, and what I mean by that is I talk about even the bad, I talk about, if there's, moments of depression, things like that, because that's real, that's life, so you will see things like that come through. So I wouldn't say it's another side. It's just, it's not always joy.
Yeah. So I have a question. So what is your writing process, if you don't mind me asking, and letting the audience out, everybody out there in the Poetry Corner universe and world, do you have a process? Like, what comes to your mind? Like, how
That's
you
why I laugh,
manifest?
because I'm like, do I have a process? Maybe if somebody studied me, they probably say I have a process. But if I really think about it, a lot of the poems, some are inspired by certain things, meaning something. I'll say what year 20. Let's see, when did the pandemic take off, and then also all of the killings with the African American community. What year was that? 2021.
2020.
Well, 2020, there you go, 2020. So 2020, I pushed out a lot of poems that were actually dealing with racism, dealing with being an African American woman, dealing with, because I have a brother, African American male, I have a father, I have uncles, cousins who, African American males were a target, still are, and so that during that time, I really pushed out poetry that was specific to that, so specific to that time. That's kind of how that topic. Other topics, they'll just come, like, it'll just, for me, unfortunately, it happens about 1 a.m. I'll just wake up and be like, oh, and then I just start writing. I write it on my phone first, and then eventually I'll put it on my laptop.
So after midnight.
Yeah, I don't know why that
I normally call that between 12 and 3. I call that God time.
Yeah.
That's what I mean? I'm a very spiritual person, so I numbers and time stamps and everything, because it was said to believe, to me, don't quote, I was younger, but I'm just saying, between 12 and 1, God takes a little vacation.
A vacation?
Yeah. He's not where he normally be. Well, God is not normally where he should be, but then things are just mystified out there. You know what I mean?
Got it. Okay.
I wake up at 3 or 2 sometimes and write, and I'm like, why am I writing?
Right.
I gotta get up at 5:30.
Right. I know, for me, it's quiet. I can say that much. During that time frame, it is quiet, it is peaceful. I really don't feel like it, but I got to get it out. I don't want to forget it, and I don't want to lose it. So like, that's why I put it in my phone. I get it in there, and I'm like, okay, I'll look at it tomorrow when I'm alert.
Now, do you feel that sometimes that's when you write some of your best work, when you wake up around that time?
Oh, yes. This first book, majority of this book, I'd say 90% was written during that time. And even the second one, the second one is actually going to be a collection of poems and spoken word. It's a mixture of that. And the second book, this one actually was written, some of it was at night, but then also just kind of throughout just time. And I have even a few works that I wrote a few years ago that I wanted to incorporate in this book as well. So
wow. Now I have I'm a questioner. I'm a Leo. Sorry, but how do you feel about other genres of poetry?
Other genres of poetry? What do you mean?
Oh, you want specifics? Like whether it's kind of brash, or some people writing sensual pieces, or erotic or exotic.
Okay.
Dark.
I understand. Okay.
Softly lit. Yeah, around those,
So
from your perspective.
Right. Okay. So for me, once again, poetry, how I came to love it and to actually become a poet, it's an expression. So I think poetry in its rawest form is best. And I think that's different for everybody. Right. Some may write a brass poetry, that a lot of their works may be that, that's that person, a lot of mine, all of my poems, what I strive in each piece literally is to inspire somebody. That is what I want to inspire you. Meaning if you're feeling hopeless, you'll probably see in the poem where I'm talking about feeling hopeless, but by the end of it, I need you to be encouraged to have some hope. And that's what I mean, earlier when I said, I am translucent, like I'm transparent, I will be honest, like there's depression, there's death, I've written memorial poems, for people, I've lost personally in my life. And I talk about that emotion, but by the end of it, like I said, I still want you to feel like, okay, I can make it the next step. So for me, that's typically the type of poetry that I push out, but I'm not against, other poets and what they write about. I think everyone is unique in their own way. We should be. If all of us were writing about joy, we probably wouldn't believe sadness and death that happened. But that's not true. That's not life. So we need each type of poet out there.
Right. I mean, what if the world just lived in goodness? Right. And there was no bad? What would you learn?
It's true, because a lot of learning comes from mistakes and mess ups.
Right.
And all of that.
Joy and pain.
Right. Right. Hand in hand. It really does. You appreciate joy more when you have experienced pain, just like you appreciate happiness more when you've experienced sadness. So.
Exactly. So, well, let me ask you about your ministry.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
All right, no, I didn't know if there was like a point B to that question. Okay, no. So with my ministry, yes, I am really passionate about. God has called me to women's ministry as well as youth ministry. Those are the two, and I function in that a lot of the time. Okay. And so that's even in church, in the community. A lot of times, I am either, going to a women's conference or being a part of a women's conference. I'm constantly with the youth. If you follow me on social media, yes, you're going to see me talking about my books, me being an author, but you are going to see me and I'm probably in some youth group, some youth activity, whatever it may be. Because I'm all about, the next generation. Even my background too, outside of ministry, for a long time, I studied in education and I worked in education. That is my background, and so I'm all about learning. I'm all about helping others to learn. And so when it comes to our youth, I'm very passionate about them, having a solid foundation and growing from there. I love each, characteristic that comes through youth. I never put a youth in a box. I don't want them to think, oh, this is one way of thinking. My family kind of gets on me because when you see children color, they always had us color inside the lines, right? Yeah. And I was just like, no, you just color. Just let it, just color however you want to color. Who's to say what's right versus what's wrong when
Free
you're
spirit.
Coloring? Yes, exactly. And so, as much as I'm an organized person, I am, and there are certain times where, yes, everything needs to be meticulously placed, but there are times where it's just like, what? Let's see what happens. And, I take that into writing as well, too. Sometimes, I follow certain poetic structures with rhythm and verse and everything. Other times, I love free verse, Let's see what happens. So I feel like I'm bouncing like all over the place, but
it's okay.
My point.
I'm the bounce master on it. So
my point is that with the youth, like I said, I work a lot with them. A lot of times, like I said, if you do see me in the community, for those who actually know me, they know that for a fact. I am definitely working with a youth organization, or I'm working with women's, no offense to the men or anything like that. It's just,
I'm just kidding.
I know where I'm called. I know where God has placed me.
That's what's up, though. You bringing something out to the people and whatnot, and
right.
That's very grand, right there. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. I mean, look. So how long you started within the ministry?
Oh my goodness. Woo. I grew up in church. I grew up in church. My parents, they're saved. Our family, we grew up in church. So I did very much grow up in church. Decided to give my life to Christ. That was probably, I think I was 13. I want to say 13. But I will say this: when I got into, I guess, end of high school, right before undergrad or so, I was churched out. I'll be honest. I was involved in so much as a youth myself during that time. I was in everything and I was burnt out, as they call it. And I'll never forget when I was going off to college, I was like, I'm not setting foot in a church. I still believed in God. My faith was still there in him, but I was like, I'm done with church. Like, I don't want to go. And sure enough, I think it was probably by my sophomore year, I was going to a church that was near my college campus, just being among the assembly, because it had that full impact. But ministry, church has always been a part of my life. And I want to say probably after undergrad, so roughly before my master's, when I went into my master's, and my master's actually was at Liberty University, and is actually in religious education. So So still a part of the education field, but it actually had that religious component to it because I wanted to learn more about the Bible. I wanted to learn more about God's word, and more so, I actually wanted to learn it so that I could teach it to others. And my biggest thing was I wanted to be able to teach it to where someone who was 2 years, but 5 years old could understand it just like someone who was 99 years old. You know,
that's what's up.
Because I think a lot of times when we talk about ministry, we're like over people's heads and they're like, what are you talking about? You know, everybody hasn't been to church. They haven't, you know, and you can't expect them to. And so that for me was something that, you know, was really big during that time. And like I said, from there, I continued on, really got involved with youth ministry as an adult at that point, just working with the youth, and then also then into women's ministry.
Okay. That's what's up. So you got a lot of unique things going on in your life. Come on, girl. Hey, girl.
A lot.
Young lady.
I understood.
No, that's what's up. Just a mess up. But that is great.
Yes.
I'm all about all of that. So, what are your expectations for the future?
Oh my goodness, that's such a broad question. I think because I have high expectations. Let me start short term, I guess, and then I'll go into long term. Short term, obviously, get this next book out. Already working with my publisher. Like I said, they're fabulous. So I'm happy about that. This one, I'm actually also going to do an audio book with it.
Oh wow!
So the first book, Lift Up, I didn't do audio with it, but this one I'm actually going to because of the pieces that are in it. And so it's called Reverence, and what it is talking about is reverencing God in all aspects. And it goes back to, like I said, it's not just all joy and happiness and praising God, but it's also leaning on God in so many other ways, like being a provider, being a healer, you know, just not even just physical healing, but emotional healing, you know, things like that. And that's what that book is going to be about. So that's short-term expectation. Something recently that happened was that I know I said my background, you've always been in education. So this past year I was actually a teacher, 7th grade English teacher. And tip there, my students, they hated the poetry section. I loved it. You know, I was so excited when we were introducing it, and they're just like, when am I ever going to use this in life? And I was like, well, wow. You know, but I did identify about one or two, and I'm like, you should keep writing. So hopefully.
Hey, keep pushing. It's all right.
Yes. But so, you know, I've been in education for so long, but I actually this year decided to take a leap of faith, and outside of all that I already do, I'm also an entrepreneur. I have my own wedding and event planning business.
Yes. So let them know about that. You know what I'm saying? Throw it out there to them. Branded girl. You know what I mean?
I'm the owner of Catherine Marie's Weddings and Events LLC, and we do events throughout all of Virginia as well as North Carolina. And so did take that leap of faith this year, and actually I'm doing it full time now. So full-time entrepreneur, yes.
Congratulations.
Busy. Thank you. Staying busy with events. A lot of times Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we are at an event doing something. So it fills up the calendar. But in regards to expectations, short term, definitely looking to continue growing that business as it is. Long term, you know, I definitely have a business plan and those steps. So I definitely want to see all of that come to fruition when it comes to that. But I would say after that, expectation, just, you know, I want to keep being effective in life.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know if I can paint that as a picture, but I just know for a fact that in everything I do, whether it's being an author, being a youth leader, if it's being, you know, women's director, if it's being an entrepreneur, I just want to be effective with this one life God has given me while I'm here on earth. I want to be effective. If I'm not being effective, I am being wasteful. And that's unacceptable. So
that's what's up. That's some big things going on, girl. Well, to have a little intermission.
Okay.
Can we have the audience and the host hear some of your beautiful poetry?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Okay. Oh man, let's see here.
Take your time with it. You know how they say in church, take your time with
Right.
it. Take your time with it. It's gonna be
Right.
all right.
I know. Okay, I'm gonna do this piece. This is actually an older piece that I wrote, but it's almost like a mantra in a way. It's the Christian for her God, and I wrote this a few years back. And I'll do this one. Yep, the Christian for her God. She is a Christian, a living human being expressing God. She loves and cares as he did for her, bearing joy, peace, goodness as she goes through her daily day. Meekness, temperance, faith, and long suffering in times when she needs him. She is a Christian, standing on him as her foundation, not trying to do good nor bad. If she did, she would fail. But he acts in her, and that is why she is true. It is not what she chooses, but it is what he chooses. God created her, and that is who she lives for. She is a Christian, a living witness who praises him. She sings and speaks to him. She dances and claps for him. And for that, he breathes for her. He protects, heals, and guides her. Reaching forth, she grasps his hand. She is a Christian, growing each day in his word, for his word. She prays daily and she calls daily. From the Holy Bible, she lives his voice. He speaks. She speaks. No, he speaks through her. She is a Christian, possessing and ever yearning to be close to him, to be embraced by him, to be lifted by him. In hard times, she cries to him, knowing he will soothe, as his promise remains that he will love his children. She is a Christian, facing so much controversy, the test of her faith by the day. No matter what she runs into, God will never leave her, nor will he forsake her, for his word is true. She is a Christian, loving every gift and blessing he gives, never taking for granted all that he has done and will do. Just as the rain pours his blessings shower upon her, keeping her family, friends, and self. He is a God of second chances. And regardless of how many mistakes she makes, he still stands with open arms, loving her even more. So if I am a Christian, my life is my testimony, a gift given, not explained. No explanation can define. In biology, anything that breathes is life, anything that moves is life. But what about everlasting life? How do you explain? Life is by him, from him. It is for all, but you must ask. Atheists say there is no God, the very terror of life itself, to not believe in the one who created. With his power, he could destroy you just as quick as the blink of an eye. He is the only God, the one God above every other man-made God. Instead, when my prayer is rebuked, my song, my joy, my life, and I am tempted to be convinced by morally wrong concepts that are made into laws, I fight with God's commandments. I am a Christian. When world crises arise, I cry out to God, seeking him first. So despite how much this world tries to destroy God, no matter what will become on this earth, I am a Christian, and in his name nothing shall come hither. This isn't a memorized verse or a pre-written sermon. My words are my lullaby to him that I sing aloud and lift up. My words are my ministry, a gift to all who yearn for something more, an answer to every problem of this world and every desire of the heart. My words are a prayer spoken to God just for praise, elevated with joy to receive healing and renewal. The Christian, when you see her, I stand in ready in awe of my Lord, preparing to fight this battle, knowing that it is already won. I have victory. My life springs and overflows, flowing to the depths of my soul. She is a Christian, a living human being full of life, eternal life. Her spirit never dies. That's that piece. Woo! That was
Yeah, you
long.
can say that again.
My breath.
Nah, that was good. That was you definitely laid that out. You laid that out like carpet tile.
Like I said, it's that battle cry. Like, here it is, laid out for you.
Amen. So, let me ask, what distinguishes the author from the poet?
Ooh, the author from the poet. Okay. Okay, I guess that's a good question. In my first book, Lift Up, I know when I wrote it, I was mainly actually aiming for just poetry being in it, but I ended up including devotions a part of it because, like I said, it goes back to being inspiration. And so that book actually showcases me being an author, being just like a writer, meaning writing in like paragraph form, writing versus actually writing in the sense of a poet. And so I guess I would say that as an author or as a writer, I almost feel like I can say more, or I can at least explain or expound upon it, I guess. Poetry for me is kind of like, I want you to get a message, but I also want you to kind of think like, how does this hit you? I feel like it would, as a poet, my poem may impact or may feel to one person differently than another. Sometimes with poetry, there's an interpretation to it. Whereas with an author, me being a writer, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's right there, clear for you. This is what I feel. This is my perception. You're hearing it. So I hope that makes sense.
It's only for the listener. You know what I mean? Self-explanatory though.
Right.
But I had to ask that question though,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had to think about it. I really did.
So what else is in the world of Deelynn?
Oh my goodness, what else is in the world of Deelynn?
Yeah.
I honestly, this year I will say I am out here just, if it's something I want to do, I just go do it. That's kind of the space I'm at in this part of my life. And I say that because like earlier this year I've always wanted to go skydiving. So what I do, I went skydiving. My family, they said I was crazy. They're like, why would you do that? And friends, they'd be like, why would you jump out of a perfectly good plane? And I go back, I was like, well, if I was ever on an airplane and something happened, at least I'll know how to fall, right? But that's just something. I took a road trip this year too. I literally drove from Virginia all the way to California. Why? Just because I wanted to see the U.S.
By
I
yourself?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Solo roller.
It was just something I wanted to do. I wanted to see it, and I made a collage of like pictures and everything to look back on it because you can see how the landscape changes across, our beautiful country here. But this year's just been a year of like, you know what? I want to do it. I'm going to do it. Yeah. And that's, so right now, I don't know what's up next. A lot of focus has been on the business just because, like I said, I did take that leap. So a lot of my mental state is consumed with pushing that forward.
Hey, you got to do what you want to do out in this world. You can't let nothing or anyone hold you back. You just got to keep pushing. Well, I'm going to do a little quick station identification. Poetry Corner, click like and subscribe to the channel. Support us as we support you. And peace, love, and poetry on that. But anyway, I just want to ask one particular question.
Okay.
How do you feel about spirituality? Religion and spirituality. Just for those listening out there and, just give them some type of incentive of your thoughts on it.
Okay. All right. So religion and spirituality. Everyone's going to say different things. They are. So I'll do just literally, I can just do how Deelynn feels about it. That's all I can speak of. So for me, religion is something that I feel it's a practice or it's a formality. And what I mean by that is when I talk about religion, I'm talking about, I guess, the practices of someone's faith or someone's belief. That religion, what you do, how you do it. when you talk about religion. A lot of times, especially I'll speak, Christian faith, because I am a Christian. Even in the Bible, it talks about Pharisees and Sadducees versus those of the actual believers. And the differences among them is that, the Pharisees, Sadducees were caught up in practicing and doing certain things, doing the law, practicing the law. They got caught up in the rituals of everything. Whereas the believers, and I guess this kind of goes over to spirituality, the believers was more so it came by the faith, right? And the faith and the belief in the example set by Jesus Christ. And so it's no longer about, okay, I'm going to work to be good. I'm going to earn my faith. I'm going to earn the right to be a Christian. It's not that, there's a shift that happens there. So even when I talk, you probably heard me say it many times, King, I don't say I'm all about my religion. You hear me say I'm about my faith, what I believe in, why I do what I do. Why do I write about God all the time? It's because it's dealing with my faith and my belief. So I do see a difference between there. Like I said, even with my background, I studied, my master's is religious education. So I went to school, I studied not just the Christian faith, I studied other religions as well. Just, to have that knowledge for whenever I am out there in the world, whether it's evangelism, outreach, I can also talk to people, if they have different beliefs, they have different faiths or religions. I wanted to know that knowledge because at the end of the day, I want to learn and I want to help others learn too.
Right.
But I do see a difference between the two, and I hope I try to be, concise with that.
Everybody has an opinion. You know what I mean? So there's no right or wrong. You know what I mean? Everybody's open to their own honest opinion. So I just thought I'd throw a wrench out there and ask you that. Okay. I catch you off guard. You know what I mean? So yeah. Are people available to see you on like YouTube or Instagram?
Okay.
Like videos and stuff of you reciting your poetry or doing poetry outlets?
Yes, they are. Now, unfortunately, I have not started a YouTube channel. I probably should do that, but I have not started a YouTube channel. However, I know that they can find me, different platforms such as this, also the Poetry Corner. I've been on there with, a lot of other fabulous poets. And so if you haven't checked out the Poetry Corner, I'm going to put a plug in there. Definitely check out the Poetry Corner. So you'll see it in that regard. But yes, definitely on Instagram and Facebook. Those are the two main social media outlets that I do use. And I do have live video of different spoken words. So you'll see the actual videos and everything. I also will have different clips or photos of my book, certain pages and different things like that. But then also I do a lot of live performances too. And so these, some of them may be out there and I don't know it. I don't know, people take video all the time. It's just, may not be me who took it. But yes, so I do live performances. This is all the way into, North Carolina area, as well as in Virginia. Just different spaces. I also go to churches too. That has actually started probably the last year or so. Different churches. One church will hear me and then they're like, oh, you know about this Christian poet, and then another person will call me, and I'll be able to do that.
How was that experience?
I love it. Because I'm already writing about my faith, and so
just being inside around the congregation and reciting poetry, does it feel different than being in one of these outlets than like reciting your poetry?
It does feel different. And the reason I'll say that my poem doesn't change, nor does my delivery. Right. I will say this, there are certain poems like, with, Poetry Corner, that there's certain poems I'll share on there that I probably won't share in church. Okay. Not to say they're inappropriate. It's just, it probably is just not the right audience for it, Right. And so when it comes to being in the church, what I love about it is that I'm glad churches are opening up to it. So that way people can see, and our youth they can see that, you can be your authentic self and express yourself in different ways. It's not only by you being a pastor or, a preacher. It's not only by you singing in the choir. Everybody does not, have that melody, okay, let's be real. It's not by you, being like playing an instrument. There's more you can do. And so that's why I love it. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm representing someone who I never grew up seeing a poet in church. I'll be honest with you. I did not. I never once saw a poet in church. Right? See?
We used to, well, I'm saying after church, we used to go outside and be insightful, rapping and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Then back in church, I was on the usher board in the choir. So
okay, there you go. Yep, the usher board. Yes, me too.
I left at 13 years old though.
That's okay. That's all right.
I jumped ship. No, but
that's okay.
Hey, I really love and enjoying and hearing the experience of you, Deelynn. Greatly appreciate you. Always have that appreciation. You know what I mean? We're gonna ask you, can you recite another poem for us?
Oh wow. Okay, another poem. Let's see.
Yeah. One of your choices.
I know. I'm trying to think. Let's see here. I think I want to do the "This Is Me" poem. Yeah, I'm gonna do "This Is Me." For some reason, I'm on this, these poems that are kind of like a battle cry type of poems.
Hey, you know what I always say? Let your mouth do the talking.
Right. And with this poem, this one was written. It was at night too. This poem was written at night. And the reason for this one, I literally wrote this because it was just kind of like a way, it was pent up feelings, probably like over the last decade or two of my life, just, the experiences with, whether it was professionally or socially, just different people who mistaken my race, stated, oh, you're this, and it's like, no, I'm actually this, or said, you're supposed to be like this because you're, people basically labeling, without actually getting to know you. And so this poem, when it came out, I was like, you know what? I just want to get it all out. Out of all these years, all these random things people have said to me. And like I said, none of them said it rudely, but it was just like, where did you get that from? So that's where this came from.
The stage is yours.
All right. This is called "This Is Me." I wrote it in February too, my birthday month. All right. Here we go. Yes, I'm Black. Not Hispanic or Puerto Rican. I'm not a tanned Caucasian or mixed Black and white. Nothing is wrong with these races, each one distinctly beautiful in their own light, but I'm Black with 1/12 Indian, and I love my ancestors for that drop. Yes, I'm educated, not because people think I'm white or rich or because I stayed in the house off the streets. Nothing is wrong with being mistaken as white, rich, or staying in the house. Every detail is delightful for anyone who relates, but I'm educated. Having earned 2 degrees, almost 3 to achieve my doctorate, I studied, sacrificed, and fell in love with learning. Yes, I speak eloquently, not because I'm stuck up or I think I'm better than you. Nothing is wrong with you thinking you're better. If that's you, then do you. But I speak eloquently, thankful to be chosen by God for his purpose. So I boldly speak with confidence in him. Yes, I'm talented, not because I played sports or dropped bars. Nothing's wrong with professional athletes. I've cheered for some of the greats, especially those who we call the GOATs. But I'm talented because I'm gifted by God to write beyond blank pages, touching hearts and guiding souls to Christ. Yes, I eat soul food, not because I'm Black or because my family was poor. Nothing is wrong with fried chicken, collard greens, and for those who eat them, chitlins. But I eat soul food because I love starches and butter, the very heart of this exquisite cuisine. Yes, I have a new hairstyle every time you see me. Not because I can't manage my hair or because I don't know my identity. Nothing is wrong with struggling with hair management or wanting to look like others to fit in, but I have a new hairstyle every time you see me because I love changing my hair. I love taking care of it, and I'm proud of how healthy my God-given crown of glory is. Yes, I have a big family. Not because we like having a lot of babies or because every Black family does. Nothing is wrong with being fertile. It's a blessing. Or that many Black families are large. It's a blessing too. But I have a big family because my grandmothers were strong Black women who bore my uncles and aunts, teaching them to take care of the family land, yes, that we own, and our home, and that family is a blessing. Yes, I am me. Not because someone told me or because I read an inspirational post on Facebook. Nothing is wrong with encouraging others. For those who post, keep posting. It's helping someone. But I am me because that's who God made me to be. From my Black skin tone to the beauty marks across my face, from my intelligence and strength given by God to articulate my speech and utilize my unique abilities, I am me. And there is no one like me and no one like you. I am me, and it's a great one to be. And that's that piece. This is me.
Hey. With your poetry, you always definitely bring it on. It's like right in your face. Here it is. I'm done. Read between the lines. Don't ask me no questions. Nah. But that's what's up, though. We always appreciate you coming on to the Poetry Corner.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you coming on tonight, The King's Dream.
Yes.
And, also let the audience know where your book is available at.
Okay, absolutely. Yes. So the book, like I said, it's already out right now, is Lift Up. You can get it on Amazon. If you want an autographed copy, I'll put that out there. Personally, please message me. Find me on social media. Like I said, Facebook, Instagram. Even if you put the comments through this platform here, I'll definitely be checking it out. But yeah, I can actually send you an autographed copy. I don't mind doing that at all. But you definitely can get it on Amazon if you want it directly sent to you. The next book, like I said, coming up, it's also going to be available on Amazon as well. And like I said, I'm looking to do the audio book with that one too. For those who don't like to actually read it, they want to hear it. I understand. Definitely look for that too.
That's what's up. So do you have any last words for the people out there in the poetry world, just in society in general, about Deelynn?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to you, King. Of course, I want to say thank you just for this platform, just for this time. I value time very much, my time, and then everyone else's time, because it takes time and none of us get back. We all get 24 hours, and what we all choose to do with it comes down to what we do, right? So I want to thank you. I definitely appreciate it. I know you have so many phenomenal poets on here and authors. So I'm just glad to be among them. But yes, to society, just to the world, I definitely want to say, stay encouraged, stay lifted up. If you need some inspiration, buy the book. That's what it's about, lifting up, inspiration. Maybe you're already lifted up, buy for somebody else. Because if you talk to enough people, you'll find that some people are going through, and you know what? We got to be there for each other. God made us relational beings. So, if you don't have anything going on in your life, you need to talk to somebody else, because they probably have something going on. So that's what I would just say. Just want to say thank you. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome. All right, y'all heard it right there from Deelynn. Lift Up, Amazon. Go out there and cop that. Support us as we support you. You know what I mean? And it's been a beautiful night with you.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you, appreciate you. And We expect to see you back on the Poetry Corner.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Don't forget them Tuesday nights, girl.
I know.
Yeah. So listen, everybody out there in Poetry Corner Universe, Poetry Corner World, Let's Talk World, we shall see you next Tuesday on the station ahead. Click like and subscribe to the channels.
Yes.
And peace, love, and poetry. And we out of here.